We are rolling right through this thing. Happy, beautiful day to all of you out there in Facebook land. I am going to not waste any time. I'm going to get right down to the nitty gritty, bring in the Instagram crew so we can go on and get this discussion going on because this is going to be a good one. Okay? Stand by. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Instagram, how are y'all doing on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day? Oh, that's kind of bright, ain't it? There we go. How are y'all doing today? Day number 19 of FABMIS. We are rolling right through this thing, y'all. We are going to keep the party going on this lovely day. Today, I want to dig into something that I'm personally excited about, and I hope that you are excited about it too, because, there's that question. Hello, hello, good morning, Tamaya K. Afternoon. It's still morning where I am, so you had it right. It's still morning. So we're going to keep it a little bit more casual than we usually do, but I still want to make sure that we get through the content of what I have for you today, because today's topic I am super excited about. I am super excited to bring it to you because, just to be honest, I, like just about every other person who has a Wi-Fi connection and a smartphone, when I get up in the morning, it's not necessarily the first thing that I do, but it's definitely one of the things that I do when I get up in the morning, and that is to check my social media. And it's easy for me to be like, well, I check my social media because I make my money on social media. Like, I have to keep my audience engaged. I have to make sure that I am engaging and that I'm interacting and that I'm continuing dialogue and answering questions and up in the DMs and all of that. So it's easy for me, because my business is online, to be like, okay, well, I check my social media in the morning because it's part of my job, right? Like, it's easy for me to say that. Well, before I jump into the training, I want to make sure that if you are new here, I want to welcome you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are not new here, welcome back. My name is Nick Scott. I am a personal brand coach, and I help women entrepreneurs establish, grow, and maintain their personal brand. So, the question that I'm posing to you today is, are you a creator or are you a consumer? And I started off talking about, yes, I have an online business. And if you are following me, if you have been listening to me for any amount of time, you probably have an online business too, right? Like, it's hard to escape social media and the things that are being created on social media if your business is online, right? I mean, let's be clear. I said it before, part of my job is to make sure that I'm on social media and checking in and answering DMs and answering questions and engaging my audience. And, the list can go on and on and on about social media and content consuming and content consumption, right? And I'm sure that you feel the same way. But something that I advise all of my clients all of the time is, if you have time to consume social media content, you have time to create it. Now let me personalize this thing, and I want you to write it down. If I have time to consume social media content, then I have time to create it. And I want you to read that to yourself every single day. Put it up on your mirror. Make a note to yourself. If I have time to consume social media content, then I have time to create it. Because it's easy for us to get stuck in the rabbit hole of our timeline. And for a lot of people, that's a tough pill to swallow. If you have time to consume it, you have time to create it. That is a tough pill for a lot of online entrepreneurs to swallow, because, like I said before, at the opening of this discussion, this is part of our responsibility. This is part of our job to make sure that we're engaged and on social media, right? And especially depending upon what aspect of online entrepreneurship you're in, it might be part of your job to consume a crazy amount of content while you're on social media. But understand that your consumption rate and your creation rate and that ratio, it should be a little bit more leaning towards the other end than I'm sure than it is for some of you. So yes, and I get it. You don't necessarily want to hear that hard reality of the fact that if I'm consuming social media content, I need to be creating social media content. And it's easy for me to understand from my perspective, because even when I go through some of my followers' social media profiles and as I'm on social media, I see a lot of online entrepreneurs who are still mixing their personal social media content with their business social media content. I still see this. It's crazy to me, because it would seem as if at this day and time that it would be clear that personal stuff is personal and business stuff is business. But I also understand that influencer influence on everyone wanting to be an influencer, everyone wanting to live that lifestyle, because they make it seem so delicious and make it seem like everyone should be living this lifestyle. So if you have a business account, your business account needs to be for your business, and your personal account needs to be for your personal stuff. And I know those lines can get a little bit blurry when we're talking about personal branding, right? Because, if you have your company, let's just say your company is White Light Industries, right? Or White Light Communications. That's your company. But then you are a person, right? Let's just say, I'm going to use myself as in this example, Nick Scott. So my company is White Light Communications and I am Nick Scott. So White Light Communications, yes, it has its own, branding and its own profile and its own content and all of that. And then you come over to Nick Scott, who the CEO of the company, and I might be talking a little bit about White Light Communications. I might be talking a little bit about my kids. I might be talking a little bit about where I vacationed and my latest luxury purchase that I got from Louis Vuitton or wherever. I might be showing off pictures of my brand new luxury car. The list goes on and on and on with what people are doing on their personal social media accounts, right? But if you are using your personal profile for your business, then I would say that is your opportunity to continue to amplify your expertise. That is your opportunity to continue to grow your credibility in your niche. So instead of using your personal, that's separate from White Light Communications, right? So it would not benefit me to go off on my Nick Scott account and claim that I am the CEO of White Light Communications, when all I'm doing is really trying to use this account to be a social media influencer. Like, if I'm really an expert at what I'm doing at White Light Communications, then I need to be leveraging my personal account to amplify the work that I'm doing for White Light Communications, to amplify my expertise and to continue to grow my credibility in my niche. And let's be clear, a lot of times that White Light Communications page, it's a little bit dry in terms of social media followers and social media engagement when we compare it to what's going on with your personal account, right? And so when we're talking about that personal account, we know that the engagement and the followership is likely going to be more. So again, that is an opportunity to start to engage your audience. That is an opportunity to start to have meaningful conversations and discussions around the work that you're doing for White Light Communications. That is a great opportunity for you to close some sales, right? And while it's important, I believe, and I train all of my clients and students, that it is very important to have a healthy ratio of social media content consumption and social media content creation. So you should definitely be spending much more time creating social media content than you do consuming. And I'm going to personalize it again. And I want you to write it down. I'm going to personalize it. I should be spending much more time creating social media content than I spend consuming social media content. So write that down. Again, read it every day. And as a reminder, remember that if you have time to consume it, you have time to create it. Because let's be clear, I'm gonna be very, very, very honest. I am a personal brand coach. I'm a personal brand expert. And I'm going to tell you this. And I'm going to tell you this. And I want you to remember this. That social media alone will not accelerate the growth of your personal brand. Social media alone will not accelerate the growth of your personal brand. That's something else that you need to write down and commit to your memory. Social media alone will not accelerate the growth of your personal brand. It is a necessary tool. It is a very necessary tool for you to leverage in your personal branding mix. It is something that you leverage. You cannot depend on it. Okay? So in my signature program, FABB Public Speaking, we go into a deep dive into the necessary digital assets to grow your brand. We do. There's a whole module that's dedicated to branding yourself as a speaker and branding yourself, what digital assets you need. There's a whole module that we dedicate to that because that's how important it is for my students and my clients to understand that social media alone cannot accelerate your personal brand. And that is really the real reason, one of the reasons that I created FABB Public Speaking, because it's like there is this misconception out here in the streets. There's so many entrepreneurs that believe because of the rise in social media influencers that they too need to become an influencer in order to accelerate their personal brand. And that is not true. That is false. And this discussion is not about how you can accelerate your personal brand, but I do want you to understand that when you're thinking about and when you are employing certain personal branding strategies to grow your personal brand, you have to understand why you're doing what you're doing and what is the outcome that you're supposed to receive. And once again, I'm gonna say it, social media alone will not accelerate your personal brand. So when you're thinking about your personal brand strategies, all of the different things that you can use to grow your personal brand, social media is a great accompaniment to every single one of them. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what you're doing to grow your brand, but it can't be social media by itself, because what social media is an accompaniment to that, right? It accompanies whatever else that you're doing. It is that tool that you should be leveraging to amplify whatever the other things that you're doing. And one of the top reasons that I hear from clients as to why they aren't actively using social media or growing their personal brand is because they don't have time. Like that is a big objection that people have about growing their personal brand. They're like, I just don't have time to grow my personal brand. And I would say a lot of those folks that say they don't have time to grow their personal brand is because they're still in that mindset of believing that growing your personal brand means that I have to be 100% on social media. But that's tangential and we ain't gonna get into that right now, okay? That is completely tangential, but there is still that old way of thinking that permeates so many people, and it deters them from growing their personal brand because they feel like they don't have time, because they equate personal branding with social media, and that's not true. Okay? But I'm gonna tell you one thing that I do know. Those same clients and those same students that say, I don't have time to grow my personal brand, they are spending upwards of 10 hours or more per week, every single week, consuming, sharing, commenting, liking, and saving other people's content on social media. Y'all explain to me how that works. Those same folks that say, I don't have time for my personal brand, I don't have time for that. They are spending hours and hours and hours and hours a week consuming, sharing, commenting, liking, and saving other people's social media content. So if I go to your profile right now, we're going to make this thing personal again, because this is personal, right? If I go to your profile right now, your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter, your YouTube, whatever type of profile that you would consider to be your main profile, LinkedIn, I'll even throw TikTok in there. What I see some current posts. When was the last time you posted? If the last time you posted was 3 months ago, then that's a problem, because I know that you are consuming social media content. So how come you're not creating it? How come you're not creating it? If you are an online entrepreneur, it is imperative that you become a creator and not a consumer. So I guess now the question would be, well, Nick, how much time should I be consuming and how much time should I be creating? I really can't answer that question for you. I can't. I'm sorry. I don't know. I've heard some people throw out numbers like you should spend 80% of your time creating and 20% of your time consuming. But that's not realistic for everybody. Like, I can't give a blanketed answer, but what I can say is that if you are committed to accelerating your personal brand and you are consuming more content than you are creating, then the scale is not tipping in your favor to accelerate your personal brand. It's just not. If you are committed to accelerating your personal brand and you are spending more time consuming than you are creating, then the scale is not tipping in your favor. It's not. So before I go, I have just a few tips that I want to give you to keep you from being a consumer, right? If you want to be a creator, what you just need to start creating. That is the tip that I have for you to be a creator. Just do it. Like how Nike used to say, does Nike still say that? I don't know. Just do it. Just get out there and start creating. But if you do not want to be a consumer, I do have some tips for you. And the first one is to set a timer, because it's easy for us to get down that rabbit hole of social media, right? We see something funny, then we're sharing it with our friends, or we're commenting, or we read something and it's really good, and then we start wanting to know more and more and more and more. And we all do it, y'all. We all are victims of the social media rabbit hole. I myself am a victim, but you have to become so self-aware. You have to become so self-accountable that when you're like, dang, I've been on here for 20 minutes. Let me put this down and do something else that's productive for my business. Because sitting here consuming other people's content is not necessarily productive for my business. You can fool yourself into thinking that it's productive and it's helping your business, depending upon the type of content you're consuming, right? You can trick yourself into thinking that. Listen, content consumption is the trick of the enemy. So set a timer for yourself. Set a timer. And when the timer goes off, actually stop. Mid-scroll. Just stop. Right? Carve out some time in your schedule every single day to create something. Remember, I said the best way to become a creator is just to start creating. So start creating. Take some time every day to create some content. And it doesn't have to be a ton of content, right? There's a lot of content creation and repurposing strategies that you can employ to make your content creation efforts more optimized. But we're not going to get into that right now. My advice in terms of getting active and starting to show up on social media in terms of your content would be for you to focus on your favorite platform. So carve out some time to create some content for whatever your favorite platform is. And that's like a baseline because, let's be clear. Personal branding is all about making some noise. It is all about getting visible. And one platform is not going to make enough noise to amplify your personal brand and to grow your credibility. And it's not going to be a disruptor enough. But if you are not in the habit of creation, you have to get into the habit of creation before we can start to make some noise on social media to amplify your expertise and to grow your credibility, right? And then the last tip that I have for you to stop consuming so much content is to audit the social media accounts you follow. These aren't accounts just on your business accounts, also on your personal profiles. Because a lot of times We might not be on our business accounts going down the rabbit hole. We'll be on our personal accounts going down the rabbit hole and engaging with our friends and our families and everything that's going on those personal social media accounts. So I encourage you to audit that. And when I say audit, y'all know what an audit is. I want you to take a look at who you're following personally and privately, and unfollow folks that are going to be a distraction. And if you can't find it in your heart to unfollow people, because I know how, that's a personal attack for some people. Some people take that personally if you unfriend them or if you unfollow them, right? But if you can't do that, then mute them. Like, I know Facebook and Instagram, and I think Twitter even allows you to do this also. There's this great feature called mute. Wonderful feature. You can mute them or unfollow them, which is not unfriending them on Facebook, and you won't have to see that content. Instead, start to follow more accounts that align with where your thinking should be, that align with the goals that you want to attain, right? You should be feeding your mind and your spirit and your body, right, with things that are not necessarily where you are right now, but where you want to be. Where do you want to be? Your social media content shouldn't be reflective of your circumstances right now. It should be reflective of where you want to be. And I'm talking social media content that you are creating and consuming. So those are the tips that I have for you. If you want to stop being a consumer and start being a creator, set a timer and stop. Because some of us will set a timer and we'll just keep on going. It's just like the alarm clock that we set every single morning. When it goes off, if you're a hit snooze type of person, then you are probably the kind of person that's going to ignore the timer when it goes off for you to stop scrolling on social media. But set a timer. Set a timer, carve out some time to create, and then audit the accounts you follow. And don't just look at them and be like, oh yeah, all those celebrities you following, why are you following them? Because you like their craft on television, you like their music, but are they feeding you? Right? Okay, I'm not even going to get on that soapbox. I am not even going to get on that soapbox. But I'm going to leave you with this. If you are ready to set your personal brand up for success, I want you to get the roadmap. And the roadmap, the Boost Your Brand roadmap, is available on my website at inickscott.com/roadmap. That is inickscott.com/roadmap. And in it, you will find 7 simple steps for you to follow, right? So get the roadmap, get it in your inbox, open it up, and start taking those 7 steps. You will also find 3 very common mistakes that people make when it comes to their personal brand. And these are mistakes that you're probably making. These are mistakes that I made. These are mistakes that just about everybody is making that you should and could and will avoid once you recognize and understand what those mistakes are. So get the roadmap, inickscott.com/roadmap. This has been day number 19 of FABMIS. It is 11:11 a.m. and I am going to end it on that note. Y'all have a good one and I will see you in the next one. Bye.